to make clear or understandable. Interpret, to explain the meaning of something. Interpret a dream, interpret a text, interpret data. Explain, to make an idea or situation clear by describing it in more detail. Explain a concept, explain a rule, explain carefully. Clarify, to make a statement or situation less confused and more comprehensible. Clarify a point, clarify instructions, issue a clarification. Decipher, to convert a text written in code into normal language, to understand something mysterious. Decipher a message, decipher handwriting, decipher a clue. Elucidate, to make something clear, to explain. Elucidate a theory, elucidate a process, elucidate clearly. Explicate, to analyze and develop an idea or principle in detail. Explicate a poem, explicate a philosophical concept. Expound, to present and explain a theory or idea systematically and in detail. Expound on a theory, expound one's views. Unravel, to investigate and solve or explain something complicated or puzzling. Unravel a mystery, unravel a complex plot. Demystify, to make a difficult or esoteric subject clearer and easier to understand. Demystify technology, demystify the legal process. Construe, to interpret a word or action in a particular way. Construe a remark as hostile, construe the law broadly. Freedom from penalty or harm. Impunity, exemption from punishment or freedom from the injurious consequences of an action. With impunity, act with impunity. Immunity, protection or exemption from something, especially an obligation or penalty. Diplomatic immunity, grant immunity, immunity from prosecution. Exemption, the process of freeing or state of being free from an obligation or liability imposed on others. Tax exemption, exemption from duty, apply for an exemption. Freedom, the power or right to act, speak, or think without hindrance or restraint. Freedom of speech, freedom to act, academic freedom. Indemnity, security or protection against a loss or other financial burden. Contractual indemnity, offer indemnity, indemnity clause. Amnesty, an official pardon for people who have been convicted of political offenses. Grant amnesty, general amnesty, amnesty for prisoners. Dispensation, exemption from a rule or usual requirement. Special dispensation, grant a dispensation. Absolution, formal release from guilt, obligation, or punishment, often in a religious or moral context. Grant absolution, receive absolution for one's sins. Carte blanche, complete freedom to act as one wishes. Given carte blanche, have carte blanche to make changes. Reprieve, the cancellation or postponement of a punishment. Last-minute reprieve, grant a reprieve.
To take forcefully. Wrest, to forcibly pull something from a person's grasp. Wrest control, wrest power, wrest away. Seize, to take hold of suddenly and forcibly. Seize power, seize opportunity, seize assets. Snatch, to quickly seize something in a rude or eager way. Snatch a purse, snatch victory, snatch a kiss. Commandeer, to take possession of something by force, especially for military or official use. Commandeer a vehicle, commandeer supplies, commandeer a building. Expropriate, to take property from its owner for public use or benefit, often through legal authority. Expropriate land, expropriate assets, expropriate without compensation. Usurp, to take a position of power or importance illegally or by force. Usurp the throne, usurp authority, usurp a leader's role. Annex, to seize and add territory to one's own, typically without the consent of the owner. Annex a region, annex a neighboring state, forcibly annex. Plunder. To steal goods from a place, typically using force and in a time of war or civil disorder. Plunder a village, plunder resources, plunder and loot. An insincere display of emotion. Crocodile tears, an insincere display of grief or remorse. Crocodile tears, shed crocodile tears, cry crocodile tears. Fake tears, tears that are not genuine and are intended to deceive. Fake tears, cry fake tears, sob fake tears. Hypocritical tears, tears that are contrary to a person's true beliefs or feelings. Hypocritical tears, shed hypocritical tears. Pretended grief, a false or feigned show of sorrow. Pretended grief, show pretended grief. Sham sobs, false or pretend cries. Sham sobs, sob sham sobs. Histrionics, exaggerated, dramatic behavior designed to attract attention or elicit sympathy. Emotional histrionics, a performance full of histrionics. Maudlin, self-pityingly or tearfully sentimental, often to an insincere degree. Maudlin display, maudlin apology, become maudlin. Perfunctory. Carried out with a minimum of effort or reflection, making emotion seem fake. Perfunctory apology, perfunctory condolences. Dissembling, concealing one's true motives, feelings, or beliefs under a false appearance. A dissembling smile, dissembling sorrow. Theatricality, excessively dramatic and exaggerated behavior, implying a lack of genuine feeling. The theatricality of her grief, pure theatricality.
To praise or honor highly. Leonize, to treat someone as a celebrity or a very important person. Leonize a hero, leonize a scientist. Celebrate, to acknowledge a significant or happy day or event with a social gathering or enjoyable activity. Celebrate an achievement, celebrate a birthday. Glorify, to describe or represent something as admirable, especially unjustifiably. Glorify war, glorify the past. Idolize, to admire, revere, or love greatly or excessively. Idolize a celebrity, idolize a parent. Exalt, to hold someone or something in very high regard, to think or speak very highly of. Exalt the virtues, exalt a leader. Venerate, to regard with great respect, reverence, or deep admiration. Venerate a saint, venerate tradition, venerated elder. Revere, to feel deep respect or admiration for something. Revere a founder, revere nature, deeply revere. Extol, to praise enthusiastically and highly. Extol the benefits, extol someone's virtues. Eulogize. To praise highly, especially in a formal statement or speech, typically someone who has just died. Eulogize a leader, eulogize a friend's life. Aggrandize, to enhance the power, wealth, status, or reputation of someone beyond normal limits. Aggrandize a ruler's legacy, self-aggrandizement. Having a lot of money. Affluent, having a great deal of money, wealthy. Affluent neighborhood, affluent society, affluent family. Wealthy, having a great deal of money, resources, or assets, rich. Wealthy individual, wealthy nation, extremely wealthy. Prosperous, successful in material terms, flourishing financially. Prosperous business, prosperous city, prosperous era. Rich, having a lot of money or assets, wealthy. Rich man, rich chocolate, rich in resources. Well off, in a comfortable financial position. Well off family, quite well off. Opulent, ostentatiously rich and luxurious or lavish. Opulent lifestyle, opulent mansion, opulent decoration. Moneyed, having much money, affluent. Moneyed classes, moneyed interests, moneyed elite. Flush, having plenty of something, especially money. Flush with cash, feeling flush. Sumptuous, splendid and expensive looking. Sumptuous feast, sumptuous apartment. Palatial, resembling a palace in being spacious and splendid. Palatial home, palatial estate. Capable of being done. Feasible, possible and practical to do easily or conveniently. Feasible plan, feasible solution, economically feasible. Possible, able to be done, within the power or capacity of someone or something. Possible outcome, entirely possible, possible to achieve. Practicable, able to be done or put into practice successfully. Practicable idea, legally practicable. Viable, capable of working successfully, feasible. Viable option, viable business, financially viable. Achievable, able to be brought about or reached successfully. Achievable goal, easily achievable. Attainable, able to be accomplished or achieved. Attainable objective, easily attainable. Executable, able to be performed or carried out. Executable plan, executable strategy. Workable, capable of producing the desired result or effect, practicable. Workable solution, workable compromise. Tenable, able to be maintained or defended against attack or objection. Tenable position, tenable theory. Realizable, able to be achieved or made to happen. Realizable vision, realizable profit. To notice or understand something. Discern, to perceive or recognize something that is not immediately obvious. Discern a difference, discern a pattern, barely discern. Detect, to discover or identify the presence or existence of something. Detect a smell, detect motion, detect fraud. Perceive, to become aware or conscious of something, to interpret or regard in a particular way. Perceive a change, perceive a threat, perceive as rude. Recognize, to identify someone or something from having encountered them before, to acknowledge the existence, validity, or legality of something. Recognize a face, recognize a symptom, recognize a right. Identify, to establish or indicate who or what someone or something is. Identify a plant, identify a problem, identify the cause. Espy, to catch sight of, to discern, especially something distant or obscure. Espy a ship on the horizon. Descry, to catch sight of. To discover by careful observation. Descry a figure in the mist. Apprehend, to understand or perceive. Apprehend the danger, apprehend the concept. Fathom, to understand, a difficult problem or an enigmatic person, after much thought. Fathom his motives, cannot fathom why. Grok, to understand intuitively or by empathy, to establish a rapport with. Grok the philosophy, grok a situation. A sudden attack or movement. Sally, a sudden charge out of a besieged place against the enemy, a brief journey or sudden start into activity. Make a sally, sally forth. Attack, to take aggressive action against with weapons or armed force. Launch an attack, under attack, attack at dawn. Foray, a sudden attack or incursion into enemy territory, a brief but spirited attempt to become involved in a new activity. Foray into enemy territory, first foray into business. Raid, a rapid surprise attack on an enemy by troops, aircraft, or other armed forces. Police raid, air raid, raid a camp. Sortie, an attack made by troops coming out from a position of defense, a operational flight by a single military aircraft. Fly a sortie, make a sortie. Incursion, an invasion or attack, especially a sudden or brief one. Enemy incursion, make an incursion. Onslaught, a fierce or destructive attack. Violent onslaught, onslaught of criticism. Blitz, an intense or sudden military attack. A sudden concerted effort. Media blitz, blitz the quarterback. Eruption, a sudden, violent, or forcible entry. Eruption into the room. Charge, a rush forward, typically in an attack. Cavalry charge, charge up the hill. A feeling of anxiety or dismay. Consternation, feelings of anxiety or dismay, typically at something unexpected. Cause consternation, look of consternation, filled with consternation. Dismay, concern and distress caused by something unexpected. To one's dismay, feel dismay, great dismay. Shock, a sudden upsetting or surprising event or experience. State of shock, culture shock, shock of discovery. Alarm, an anxious awareness of danger. Grow with alarm, cause alarm, alarm bells. Anxiety, a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease about something with an uncertain outcome. Full of anxiety, anxiety about the future, sense of anxiety. Trepidation, a feeling of fear or agitation about something that may happen. View with trepidation, feeling of trepidation. Apprehension, anxiety or fear that something bad or unpleasant will happen. Apprehension about the future, filled with apprehension. Angst, a feeling of deep anxiety or dread, typically an unfocused one about the human condition or the state of the world. Teenage angst, existential angst. Dread, great fear or apprehension. Live in dread, sense of dread. Disquiet, a feeling of worry or unease. Public disquiet, growing disquiet. developing earlier than usual. Precocious, having developed certain abilities or inclinations at an earlier age than is usual or expected. Precocious child, precocious talent. Advanced, far on or ahead in development or progress. Advanced for her age, advanced skills, advanced student. Mature, fully developed physically, having reached an advanced stage of mental or emotional development. Mature child, mature attitude, mature response. Gifted, having exceptional talent or natural ability. Gifted student, gifted musician, gifted artist. Talented, having a natural aptitude or skill for something. Talented writer, talented team, immensely talented. Prodigious, remarkably or impressively great in extent, size, or degree, often used to describe a young person with extraordinary abilities. Prodigious talent, prodigious memory, child prodigy. Premature, occurring or done before the usual or proper time, too early. Premature development, premature baby. Ahead. More advanced in progress or development. Ahead of his peers, ahead of the curve. Preternatural, beyond what is normal or natural, used to describe unusually advanced ability. Preternatural wisdom, preternatural understanding. Forward, of a person, bold or over-familiar in manner, advanced for one's age. Forward child, forward thinking. Done with minimal effort or care. Perfunctory, carried out with a minimum of effort or reflection. Perfunctory glance, perfunctory nod, perfunctory inspection. Mechanical, done without thought or spontaneity, automatic. Mechanical response, mechanical apology. Superficial, existing or occurring at or on the surface, not thorough or deep. Superficial cleaning, superficial knowledge, superficial wound. Automatic, done or occurring spontaneously, without conscious thought or attention. Automatic reply, automatic reaction. Hasty, done with excessive speed or urgency, hurried. Hasty decision, hasty exit, hasty generalization. Cursory. Hasty and therefore not thorough or detailed. Cursory glance, cursory examination. Desultory, lacking a plan, purpose, or enthusiasm, occurring randomly. Desultory conversation, desultory effort. Token, done for the sake of appearances or as a symbolic gesture, minimal. Token effort, token gesture. Negligent, failing to take proper care in doing something. Negligent work, negligent attitude. Slapdash, done too hurriedly and carelessly. Slapdash job, slapdash approach. Annoyance or distress from failure. Chagrin, distress or embarrassment at having failed or been humiliated. Much to my chagrin, feel chagrin, chagrin at failing. Embarrassment, a feeling of self-consciousness, shame, or awkwardness. Embarrassment over the mistake, face flushed with embarrassment. Humiliation, the action of humiliating someone or the state of being humiliated. Public humiliation, sense of humiliation. Disappointment, sadness or displeasure caused by the non-fulfillment of one's hopes or expectations. Disappointment in the results, bitter disappointment. Shame, a painful feeling of humiliation or distress caused by the consciousness of wrong or foolish behavior. Flush with shame, feel shame, cry from shame. Mortification, great embarrassment and shame. Utter mortification, to my mortification. Frustration, the feeling of being upset or annoyed as a result of being unable to change or achieve something. Frustration with the failure, sense of frustration. Vexation, the state of being annoyed, frustrated, or worried. Much to my vexation, feelings of vexation. Disfavor, disapproval or dislike. Fall into disfavor, look upon with disfavor. Discomfiture, a feeling of unease or embarrassment, awkwardness. Cause discomfiture, obvious discomfiture. Stubbornly contrary. Perverse, showing a deliberate and obstinate desire to behave in a way that is unreasonable or unacceptable. Perverse streak, perverse satisfaction, perverse refusal. Contrary, opposite in nature, direction, or meaning, perversely inclined to disagree or to do the opposite of what is expected or desired. Contrary to advice, contrary child. Unreasonable, not guided by or based on good sense, not fair or acceptable. Unreasonable demand, utterly unreasonable. Stubborn, having or showing dogged determination not to change one's attitude or position on something, especially in spite of good arguments or reasons to do so. Stubborn person, stubborn resistance, stubborn stain. Obstinate. Stubbornly refusing to change one's opinion or chosen course of action, despite attempts to persuade one to do so. Obstinate man, obstinate refusal. Intransigent, unwilling or refusing to change one's views or to agree about something. Intransigent attitude, intransigent negotiator. Recalcitrant, having an obstinately uncooperative attitude toward authority or discipline. Recalcitrant child, recalcitrant behavior. Inflexible, unwilling to change or compromise. Inflexible stance, inflexible rules. Obdurate, stubbornly refusing to change one's opinion or course of action. Obdurate refusal, obdurate heart. Mulish, resembling a mule in being stubborn. Mulish stubbornness, mulish expression. To express contempt for. Deride, to express contempt for, to ridicule. Deride a proposal, publicly deride. Mock, to tease or laugh at in a scornful or contemptuous manner. Mock someone's accent, mock relentlessly. Ridicule, the subjection of someone or something to contemptuous and dismissive language or behavior. Subject to ridicule, ridicule an idea. Scorn, a feeling and expression of contempt or disdain for someone or something. Scorn the idea, pour scorn on. Disparage, to represent as being of little worth, to belittle. Disparage someone's achievements, openly disparage. Scoff, to speak about something in a scornfully derisive or mocking way. Scoff at the idea, scoff at tradition. Jeer, to make rude and mocking remarks, typically in a loud voice. Jeer at a performer, jeer from the crowd. Taunt, to provoke or challenge someone with insulting remarks. Taunt an opponent, cruel taunt. Flout, to openly disregard a rule, law, or convention, showing a lack of respect. Flout authority, flout conventions. Jibe, an insulting or mocking remark, a taunt. Hurl jibes, jibe at his rival. An important or memorable day. Red letter day, a day that is pleasantly noteworthy or memorable. A red letter day, true red letter day. Memorable day, a day that is worth remembering or easily remembered, especially because of something special. Memorable day, highly memorable day. Special day, a day that is better, greater, or otherwise different from what is usual. Special day, very special day. Significant day, a day that is sufficiently great or important to be worthy of attention, noteworthy. Significant day, historically significant day. Celebrated day, a day that is greatly admired, renowned. Celebrated day, widely celebrated day. Momentous day, a day of great importance or significance, especially in its bearing on the future. Momentous day, momentous occasion. Landmark day, a day marking a unique or important historical change or event. Landmark day in history, landmark decision. Milestone, a significant stage or event in the development of something. Milestone birthday, reach a milestone. Signal day, a day that is striking in its importance and serves as a clear indicator. Signal honor, signal victory. Notable day, a day worthy of attention or notice, remarkable. Notable day, particularly notable achievement. To criticize or belittle. Disparage, to represent as being of little worth, to belittle. Disparage someone's efforts, disparage constantly. Belittle, to make someone or something seem unimportant. Belittle an accomplishment, belittle others. Degrade, to treat or regard someone with contempt or disrespect. Degrade a person, feel degraded. Denigrate, to criticize unfairly, to disparage. Denigrate someone's character, denigrate achievements. Dismiss, to treat as unworthy of serious consideration. Dismiss an idea, dismiss out of hand. Decry, to publicly denounce or express strong disapproval of. Decry the injustice, decry the decline in values. Lambaste, to criticize harshly or severely. Lambaste a critic, lambaste the administration's policy. Vilify, to speak or write about in an abusively disparaging manner. Vilify in the press, vilify an opponent. Deprecate, to express disapproval of, to belittle. Self-deprecating humor, deprecate a colleague's work. Censure, to express severe disapproval of someone or something, typically in a formal statement. Official censure, vote to censure. To harass or annoy. Harass, to subject to aggressive pressure or intimidation. Harass constantly, sexually harass. Bother, to take the trouble to do something, to cause annoyance or worry to. Bother a neighbor, don't bother me. Persecute, to subject someone to hostility and ill treatment, especially because of their race or political or religious beliefs. Persecute a minority, persecute relentlessly. Torment, to cause severe suffering to. Torment animals, torment with questions. Pester, to trouble or annoy someone with frequent or persistent requests or interruptions. Pester a parent, pester for candy. Badger, to pester or harass someone persistently. Badger with questions, badger for an answer. Hector, to talk to someone in a bullying way. Hector a subordinate, hector and intimidate. Vex, to make someone feel annoyed, frustrated, or worried, especially with trivial matters. Vexing problem, vexed by the delay. Harry, to persistently harass or carry out attacks on. Harried by creditors, harry the enemy forces. Chivvy, to tell someone repeatedly to do something, to nag. Chivvy along, chivvy into action. Very large. Monolithic, massive, solid, and uniform, often implying an indivisible and impenetrable whole. Monolithic structure, monolithic corporation. Massive, large and heavy or solid, immense. Massive building, massive support. Immense, extremely large or great, especially in scale or degree. Immense size, immense pleasure. Enormous, very large in size, quantity, or extent. Enormous amount, enormous elephant. Colossal, extremely large, gigantic. Colossal statue, colossal mistake. Prodigious, remarkably or impressively great in extent, size, or degree. Prodigious memory, prodigious amount of work. Gargantuan, enormous, gigantic. Gargantuan appetite, gargantuan task. Astronomical, informal, extremely large. Astronomical sum, astronomical prices. Titanic, of exceptional strength, size, or power. Titanic struggle, titanic forces. Monumental, great in importance, extent, or size. Monumental effort, monumental architecture. Based on whim, not rule. Arbitrary. Based on random choice or personal whim, rather than any reason or system. Arbitrary decision, arbitrary rules. Random, made, done, or happening without method or conscious decision. Random selection, completely random. Capricious, given to sudden and unaccountable changes of mood or behavior. Capricious nature, capricious leader. Unpredictable, not able to be predicted, changeable. Unpredictable weather, unpredictable behavior. Whimsical, playfully quaint or fanciful, especially in an appealing and amusing way, acting or behaving in a capricious manner. Whimsical decision, whimsical humor. Erratic, not even or regular in pattern or movement, unpredictable. Erratic behavior, erratic performance. Impulsive, acting or done without forethought. Impulsive purchase, impulsive decision. Mercurial, subject to sudden or unpredictable changes of mood or mind. Mercurial temperament, mercurial artist. Fickle, changing frequently, especially as regards one's loyalties, interests, or affection. Fickle fans, fickle fortune. Volatile, liable to change rapidly and unpredictably, especially for the worse. Volatile mood, volatile situation. Very poor. Indigent, poor, needy. Indigent family, aid the indigent. Impoverished, reduced to poverty, deprived of strength or vitality. Impoverished nation, impoverished soil. Destitute, without the basic necessities of life, extremely poor. Destitute family, left destitute. Penniless, having no money, very poor. Penniless traveler, completely penniless. Needy, of a person lacking the necessities of life, very poor. Needy children, help the needy. Impecunious, having little or no money. Impecunious student, impecunious artist. Penurious, extremely poor, poverty-stricken. Penurious existence, penurious conditions. Poverty-stricken, suffering from extreme poverty. Poverty-stricken area, poverty-stricken family. Bankrupt, completely lacking in a particular quality or value, impoverished. Morally bankrupt, bankrupt of ideas. Mendicant, depending on begging for a living. Mendicant friar, mendicant lifestyle. A fight or disagreement. Fray, a situation of intense competitive activity. A battle or fight. Join the fray, political fray. Conflict, a serious disagreement or argument, typically a protracted one. Armed conflict, conflict of interest. Clash, a violent confrontation, a conflict of opinions or interests. Clash of ideologies, violent clash. Dispute, a disagreement, argument, or debate. Legal dispute, bitter dispute. Battle, a sustained fight between large, organized armed forces, a struggle or conflict. Fierce battle, battle of wills. Altercation, a noisy argument or disagreement, especially in public. Heated altercation, verbal altercation. Contretemps, an unexpected and unfortunate occurrence, a minor dispute or argument. Embarrassing contretemps, diplomatic contretemps. Imbroglio, an extremely confused, complicated, or embarrassing situation. Political imbroglio, legal imbroglio. Schism, a split or division between strongly opposed sections or parties, caused by differences in opinion or belief. Deep schism causes schism. Dissension. Disagreement that leads to discord. Internal dissension, political dissension. To block or hinder. Stymie, to prevent or hinder the progress of. Stymie an investigation, stymie efforts. Thwart, to oppose successfully, to prevent from accomplishing something. Thwart a plan, thwart an attack. Obstruct, to block or get in the way of. Obstruct justice, obstruct the view. Impede, to delay or prevent by obstructing them, to hinder. Impede progress, impede traffic. Hinder, to create difficulties for, resulting in delay or obstruction. Hinder recovery, hinder movement. Hamper, to hinder or impede the movement or progress of. Hamper progress, hamper efforts. Frustrate, to prevent, a plan or attempted action, from progressing, succeeding, or being fulfilled. Frustrate an attempt, frustrate the purpose. Inhibit, to hinder, restrain, or prevent, an action or process. Inhibit growth, inhibit progress. Stultify, to cause to lose enthusiasm and initiative, especially as a result of a tedious or restrictive routine. Stultifying rules, stultify creativity. Forestall. To prevent or obstruct an anticipated event or action by taking action ahead of time. Forestall a crisis, forestall competition. A representation of a person. Effigy, a sculpture or model of a person, often crude and used for mockery. Burn an effigy, straw effigy. Statue, a carved or cast figure of a person or animal, especially one that is life-size or larger. Bronze statue, Statue of Liberty. Likeness, a resemblance in appearance or character, a portrait or representation. Good likeness, striking likeness. Representation, the description or portrayal of someone or something in a particular way. Visual representation, accurate representation. Dummy, a model of a human being, often used for display or practice. Crash test dummy, ventriloquist's dummy. Bust, a sculpture of a person's head, shoulders, and chest. Marble bust, bust of a philosopher. Figurine, a small molded or sculptured figure, a statuette. Clay figurine, ceramic figurine. Icon. A person or thing regarded as a representative symbol or as worthy of veneration. Cultural icon, pop icon. Silhouette, the dark shape and outline of someone or something visible against a lighter background. Recognize a silhouette, silhouette against the sky. Avatar, an image or figure that represents a particular person in a video game, internet forum, etc. Digital avatar, create an avatar. to openly disrespect a rule. Flout, to openly disregard a rule, law, or convention. Flout the law, flout convention. Defy, to openly resist or refuse to obey. Defy authority, defy orders. Disobey, to fail to obey rules, a command, or someone in authority. Disobey a command, disobey parents. Ignore, to refuse to acknowledge, to disregard intentionally. Ignore a warning, ignore the rules. Violate, to break or fail to comply with a rule or formal agreement. Violate a law, violate the terms. Contravene, to violate the provisions of a law, agreement, etc., to conflict with. Contravene a regulation, contravene international law. Infringe, to actively break the terms of a law, agreement, etc. Infringe on a copyright, infringe upon rights. Transgress, to go beyond the limits set by a moral principle, standard, law, etc., to violate. Transgress a boundary, transgress the law. Breach, to make a gap in and break through, a wall, barrier, or defense. To break or fail to observe a law, agreement, or code of conduct. Breach security, breach contract. Repudiate, to refuse to accept or be associated with, to deny the truth or validity of. Repudiate an agreement, repudiate the doctrine. Aware or informed. Cognizant, having knowledge or being aware of. Cognizant of the risks, fully cognizant. Aware, having knowledge or perception of a situation or fact. Aware of the danger, politically aware. Conscious, aware of and responding to one's surroundings, having knowledge of something. Conscious of the time, socially conscious. Informed, having or showing knowledge of a particular subject or situation. Informed decision, keep me informed. Mindful, conscious or aware of something. Mindful of the cost, be mindful. Apprised, informed or told. Keep me apprised, apprised of the situation. Au fait, being familiar with or informed about something. Au fait with the latest trends, keep him au fait. Conversant. Familiar with or knowledgeable about something. Conversant with the rules, conversant in technology. Enlightened, having or showing a rational, modern, and well-informed outlook. Enlightened society, enlightened opinion. Versed, experienced or skilled in, knowledgeable about. Well-versed in literature, versed in the arts. Passage 1. The coup. The general, long known for his perverse need to oppose any policy not his own, decided to act. He could no longer stand the discomfiture of serving a leader he viewed as weak. With a cadre of loyal soldiers, he moved to wrest control of the government. They moved swiftly to seize key communication hubs and commandeer all military vehicles in the capital. In the ensuing clash, the rebels did not hesitate to plunder the national armory. By dawn, the general had managed to usurp the president's role. He declared his intention to annex the disputed borderlands, a move international leaders immediately vowed to thwart. To the world's consternation, he announced he would rule with absolute power, acting with complete impunity. Passage 2. The public apology. The CEO's press conference was a masterclass in insincerity. As she addressed the scandal, she offered a perfunctory apology, her voice dripping with maudlin sentiment. She shed what many in the audience recognized as crocodile tears, a dissembling performance meant to elicit sympathy. The theatricality of her pretended grief was obvious, her sham sobs failing to mask her true indifference. Critics were quick to deride the display as a token gesture, while commentators lambasted her for this hypocritical attempt to avoid responsibility. It was a memorable day, but for all the wrong reasons, leaving the public with a feeling of deep fixation. Passage 3. The technical breakthrough. Dr. Evans held the complex dataset, her mind racing to decipher its hidden meaning. The numbers were a puzzle that had stymied her competitors for years. She began to explicate each variable, her goal to demystify the results for the broader scientific community. After hours of intense focus, she started to fathom the underlying pattern. "Allow me to elucidate," she said to her team, preparing to expound on her theory. She could discern the solution clearly now, a viable and feasible process that was entirely attainable. This was a momentous day, a landmark achievement that would aggrandize her reputation and likely Leonize her in the annals of science. Passage 4. The legal battle. The corporation's attempt to expropriate the private land without compensation caused a bitter dispute. The landowners, cognizant of their rights, fought back. The company's actions were arbitrary and capricious, a flagrant attempt to flout environmental regulations. Their lawyers, well-versed in property law, argued the developers should not enjoy immunity from prosecution. They sought indemnity for all future losses. The judge, known for his intransigent stance on corporate overreach, was mindful of the case's significance. His ruling would either grant the corporation carte blanche or frustrate their plans entirely, setting a monumental precedent. Passage 5. The Grand Celebration. It was a red-letter day for the venerated composer, a prodigious talent who had been idolized since his precocious youth. The concert hall, filled with an opulent and affluent crowd, was a palatial setting for the event. Critics gathered to extol his latest symphony, a sumptuous work that glorified the human spirit. As the final note hung in the air, the audience erupted in applause, rising to celebrate the man they so deeply revered. There would be no perfunctory reviews tomorrow. This was a signal achievement in a legendary career, a night that would be eulogized for generations. Passage 6. The Reluctant Heir. The young king's first official act was met with trepidation. His council, comprised of the old-moneyed elite, viewed him with dismay, considering him a forward and impulsive youth. They expected a token effort, but he was cognizant of their attempts to thwart his authority. In a move that caused consternation among the nobles, he refused to grant them exemption from the new taxes. He would not be a dummy ruler. He was conversant with the kingdom's impoverished state and knew their arbitrary system of privilege was bankrupt of fairness. To their chagrin, he began to disparage their recalcitrant stance publicly, chivying them into action. He was determined to wrest real power from their grasp and usher in a more prosperous era. Passage 7. The Art Theft. The museum's monolithic security system was supposed to be impenetrable. Yet, the thieves, well-versed in electronic countermeasures, managed to thwart it. Their viable plan was executed with mechanical precision. They didn't plunder the entire wing. Their target was singular, a small figurine of immense cultural value. In a daring raid, they used the ensuing fray as a distraction to snatch the artifact from its case. The investigation was stymied from the start. The lead detective, apprised of the colossal failure, felt a wave of mortification. The thieves had acted with shocking impunity, leaving behind only a sham replica and a maudlin note that derided the museum's efforts. Passage 8. The Corporate Takeover. The hostile takeover bid was a gargantuan gamble. Alexander Croft, known for his mercurial and often capricious management style, sought to usurp the board of the rival tech giant. His first move was to quietly seize a controlling share of the company's stock. In a momentous shareholder meeting, he argued it was not only feasible but necessary to commandeer their research division to save both companies. His opponents scoffed, calling the plan a prodigious folly. They accused him of trying to expropriate value for his own aggrandizement. The resulting schism was deep, a fray of legal threats and heated altercations. Yet, Croft, cognizant of his advantage, pressed on, flouting all conventions of corporate diplomacy to wrest power from their grasp.